Song of Drums and Tomahawks. Fast-paced skirmish rules for the French and Indian War, and more. Kind of got to squeeze that in there a little bit there, didn't you, old Mike? This is from Ganesha Games. You guys know how this game is played. We've done enough of it. Written by Mike Damana, Mike Stelzer, and Keith Finn. The only thing that this rule set is lacking are scenarios. Pretty good point buys, some interesting characters, but unless you're just doing a stand-up fight, I would say you're on your own, but old Mike Stelzer, he's got your back with the Pequot War scenario book. It's like a dozen scenarios, actually a whole campaign. There's old Mr. Pequot himself. Unfortunately, I don't have enough Native American figures. I've only got an even dozen. I don't want to proxy any more than I have to, so I'll wait until I can get my eye fixed, get some painting done, and hit you with the right guys. Fortunately, even without the Pequot War, we have some options, right? Wiley Games. Even if you don't play Fistful of Lead, this is a pretty good book to buy just because it's got a number of scenarios that are perfect for the horse and musket area. By the way, spoiler alert, we're not going to see any horses today, just muskets, among other things. Scenario 1 is fight at the farmstead. The natives are getting restless, and they've decided they're going to do a little pig hunting, maybe a little long pig in addition to that. So I'm going to set up a little farm in the middle of the table, and the natives are going to start here in the corners, and they're going to attack the farmstead. Now, what the natives don't know is that in addition to old Farmer Brown, Farmer White, Farmer Pink, having a little, maybe they're drinking that night, maybe they're a little braver than usual, maybe a little dumber. They got a couple of other buddies in town. So we're actually going to have 5 farmers and 2 frontiersmen, which are, well, I'll show you those guys in just a second. But long story short, I'm going to throw some livestock out in the pen, and the natives are going to try to steal some of that livestock and get out of, well, it wouldn't be Dodge, right? Because this would be way east of that. They're going to try to get out of town before reinforcements show up. When will that happen? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. We'll think about that towards the end of the scenario. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And what I've done is I've used the profiles in Song of Drums and Tomahawks, and I've given the natives a little bit of a boost here, and I can lay it out for you. The result is a force of natives who have 276 points worth of boys versus the farmers who have 230 points, but they have the defensible position, but they also have to defend the livestock and their own scalps, as a matter of fact, but we'll get to that. Everybody on the table has a quality of 4 and a combat of 2. The natives all have scalper. That means that when they put a guy on the ground, they have to run over and spend an action taking his scalp. The good news is that earns them a victory point, as does getting off the table with any of the livestock. And at the end of the fight, we'll kind of see how many victory points they have and gauge our winners based on that. We have 3 different kinds of warriors. In the front, we've got warriors with a musket. They're all woodsmen, by the way, which we'll talk about what that means when we actually get to train on the table. Here in the center, we've got bowmen. They've got bows, obviously, and then these guys are elite braves. In addition to the musket, they've got tomahawks, and they are strong. So these guys with the tomahawks have +1 on their melee attacks, and that's what the strong does for you. The tomahawk is interesting because it's the only way you can attack twice in the same turn. You can, if you have 3 activations, you can throw your tomahawk with the first action. So you have a shooting attack, and then you move to contact with your second action, and then you can whack a guy with your third action. Alternatively, if you fight a melee and you put the guy down, you wounded him, now he's on the ground, you can spend a second action to withdraw and a third action to whack him with the tomahawk again. So there's all kinds of, it adds a couple of wrinkles that really help the game feel different from your standard game of Song of. On the side of the settlers, we've got, as I said, we've got the frontiersmen in the front. They are woodsmen, just like the natives. They are marksmen. So the guys here in the coonskin cap and this guy here in the French cap, I guess he's one of those coureur de bois. Somebody, by the way, somebody explained it to me in my comment section. This is why you got to read the comments to all of my videos. The people commenting are smarter and know more than I do. It's not coureur de bois, as in heart of the man. It's courier. It's from the French courier, meaning runner. These are courier boys. Well, okay, these guys are not. These are just standard frontiersmen. Like I said, they have marksmen, so they have a +1 when they're shooting at people. The frontiersmen also have a tomahawk, so it kind of balances things out a little bit. And then we have 5 settlers. Now notice that the settlers in the back are carrying It says rifle here. I don't think that's right, though. I think they have muskets. I have to check the points. I'm going to give them muskets because we're not quite up to the rifle era for our guys. The huntsmen, they have rifles, but the farmers have 3 muskets. And then these guys here, also a little bit cheaper, they have primitive weapons. Now, the primitive weapons means they can't shoot, but when they get involved with a combat, if they roll a 6 on their melee attack, regardless of anything else, it's an auto kill on their enemies. So they are terrifying. They're a little more impressive than the Indian Braves in melee, but all the natives have distant weapons, and all of the settlers, all my colonials, if you will, only 5 of the 7. So how's this going to go? I'm not entirely sure. Let's set up the terrain and we'll take a look. Here's my take on this scenario. Terrain, notice I have a couple of little wrinkles. In addition to the broken ground in each of the corners, these are areas that one action, instead of moving long, you move short. Unless you're woodsman, in which case you kind of move as normal. The fringes of these areas, you can only see a short distance in. There's heavy brush around, and then it kind of clears out. The underbrush clears out as the Northeastern American version of the triple canopy prevents the growth of large bracken in there. That's just the way the rules work. If you're both inside this, you can see up to 2 long. I'm playing in 15 millimeter. This is the 15 millimeter scale for those of you that are comfortable with this rule set. I threw a pasture land out here. We're getting towards the late summer. They've brought the hay in from the field, so a little bit more cover for the natives, which they're going to need because our colonists here, our colonials, if you will, the building has got a nice little foundation. I put 2 walls down to demarcate the walls of the house. And we'll use the actual doors and windows as that's the location you come in and shoot from. In other words, this whole wall here blocks movement and line of sight. The stone wall surrounding the paddock is hard cover. The hedges are soft cover. The tree, hard cover once again. And of course, if you're in the house, you're in hard cover, but only 1 man per door or window. To get over any of these linear obstacles costs a full move. You can't pass a cow over the obstacles. You can carry a pig across, but if you're carrying a pig, you are going to be slowed somewhat. Unless you're strong, you move the short distance instead of the medium on a single action. We're going to start with 3 Braves in this corner, 3 in the back right corner as we look at it, and 3 way over there in the distance. You can't quite see those. That's okay. We're going to have an elite Brave. We're going to have a bowman, and we're going to have a guy with a musket, all starting in each corner. They have to start within long of the corner, and then they're going to advance. The guys inside are not aware that the ambush is about to happen. Every turn, I'm going to give the natives a suite of activations, and then we're going to roll a d6, and we're going to keep a running tally. When that d6 count gets to 15 or higher, the alarm is sounded, and then these guys can we'll roll on their turn, right? So these guys get to go, we'll roll a d6. These guys get to go, we'll roll a d6. And to make this easy, I'm just going to roll 3 d6. Of course, I'm using red for the Washington Redskins and white for the, what they call Mayo Proto-Americans, I guess you could call them. So I'm going to roll 3 dice, once for the elite, once for the bow, and once for the other guy. That was a 3, so the elite and the musketeer get to go. Is it a musketeer? Yeah, sure, why not? He's carrying a musket. And they only get 1 move, but they are woodsmen, so they're going to be able to move up right to the edge of the woods on this first turn. The bow guy is hanging back a little bit. I don't know if he's acting as a mobile reserve or what. Up in the northeast corner, we roll for the elite. He is successful. Remember, everybody's quality 4. Then the bow guy, and then the other guy. So they're all 3 going to get to move. And we're going to go ahead and advance them the full medium. They're going to come just out of the woods. There are rules for ambushing in this game that allow you, if you're unseen, and on your first attack or your first melee or shooting. And again, I'm going to roll 3 times, once for the elite. He does not move, once for the bowman, and in the same order. So over in here, the only guy who is interested in moving into position is going to be the bow guy, which is, I didn't even look which way I did this. That's going to be this bow guy right here. So he's going to stop right there. And we'll take a look at what those do here in a little bit. Like, basically, it's very similar to the rest of the Song of. You've got a 2 long range, depending on what your weapon is. The muskets you measure using the long side, the rifle, the long side. The bows only use the medium. So you really got to get right up on a guy to use that bow. That's the end of the first turn. And now we'll roll to see if the alarm is sounded. And with a result of a 1, this might not go well for the natives. They might be walking into a total ambush. We'll start, since the camera's already set up here and it doesn't matter, we'll roll once for this guy. We're trying to get him as close as possible. We'll roll once for the guy with the musket, and we'll roll once for the guy with the tomahawk. So now all 3 decide they are interested because he is. And we're just giving him 1 action for now. I don't want to risk any turnovers. I probably could roll for 3 for one of these guys, like the last guy, but I'm going to try to keep them bunched up as much as possible. Or the smart play might have been to make 2 activations with this guy last, so we could get them all up into the same area. But I'm comfortable with what we got here. So over in this corner here, same thing. I'm going to roll 1, 2, 3. So 1 is a failure, 2 is a failure, and 3, he's the only guy that's interested in advancing. So we're going to bring him along over to here. And the fact that the Braves know that the Colonials only scored a 1 on their activation makes it a lot easier for them to make these decisions, doesn't it? Back over in the near corner, we'll check for the Indian Brave first. He will get 1 activation. The guy with the musket will fail with a 3. So we succeeded with a 6. We failed with a 3. And now this bowman, I'm going to go ahead and roll 3 activations for him. With a 6, 2, and a 5, he'll get 2 activations. So if memory serves, that means this guy will move up 1 medium. And our bow guy is going to move up 2 medium. And that'll put him right about there. Then we roll for the Colonials. Is their spidey sense tingling? And with a 4, we're up to a 5. Now, I do think once the natives grab the first of the livestock, that's when the alarm will be sounded. That will give them another opportunity to hide and prepare an ambush. With a total result of a 6, they're going to be in good position to do that. Let's keep it rolling. I'm going to start off by rolling 2 dice for the elite guy back here. He's going to get 2 activations. And we'll move him up to the corner. And then I'll roll for the bow man, and then we'll roll for the guy with the musket. So all 3 of these guys are going to get to move, and the elite Indian Brave is going to get to move twice. So he moves once, twice. We get all the way up to the wall with all 3 of these guys. No sense risking anything dumb. We'll bring him up 1, and he will succeed. So there's your medium movement. He's going to come right up to here. We'll kind of leave him in cover a little bit there. If they come out, then they've at least got the hedge kind of blocking them out. Then I'm going to roll for the musket guy and the bow guy. Musket guy succeeds. Bow guy fails. Is that right? No, that's the elite guy back there actually failed. So bow guy, the musket guy will get to move up. And we're going to try to plan. We're going to try to set them up on either side. So whoever comes out first is going to get punctured. A little lead injection, right? This guy is going to roll once. He's got the musket. He's going to fail. And then I'm going to roll, I think I'm going to roll 3 times for this Brave. I really want to get him into the mix. And because he got 2 successes, whoops, let's not knock that guy over. He's going to be able to move 1 medium to here. And his second medium, should we put him right in the corner? Let's put him right in the corner there. So he has the option of jumping over either one of those. And then I have 1 more guy. This guy has the rifle. He's only going to get 1 activation. That will cause a turnover, but that was all he was going to get anyway. That's going to bring him right up to the fence. And we roll for the sentries. They're up to a 10. And I think we gotta get him into the mix next turn. So for the natives, we are once again going to roll just 1 time. It's going to take a full turn to move over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trying to get into the paddock. 1, 2, 3. All do. And then 4 and 5. No and no. So these 3 guys jump into the paddock. And then I'm going to try to activate each of these guys once. 1 and 2. So 1 and 2. This is the only guy who does manage to move. We're going to bring him up over to here. And then we have two more guys that I really want to bring into the mix. I want to bring him and him. These are two of my, this is a bow guy. So I really want to bring him more. What I'm going to do is roll once for him. And he does manage to move up a medium. So that will put him right there. And then this guy, 3 activations. He gets 2. So he is going to catch up. 1 and 2. We're going to bring him right up to the door. Coming at you, bro. Now the Colonials get to roll. And they're already to 10. So on a 5 or a 6, they will be able to take an activation this turn. They will not, but they are almost automatically guaranteed to be able to do that next turn. It gives the natives 1 more turn to get set up. Does he get to find a better position? He does. And that better position can be pretty much anywhere he wants within medium. I'm going to put him right here. So he's flanking. And then this guy is pretty happy with where he is. We're going to try to adjust him just a little bit. He's not going to move, but he's already in soft cover, so we kind of like that. We're going to try to bring this Indian Brave over into the yard. He's not going to move. We'll try to bring him. Let's see. We're going to try to grab these 3 pigs. I want to bring him up really badly. So I'm going to bring him up. I'm going to roll once for him. And I'll take it. So medium will put him. If he's touching the base, then he can get to right there. Boy, we're in really good shape. Can I get him into the paddock? No, I cannot. And that leaves this guy and this guy. I want to roll twice for him. I'm going to roll 3 times. He gets a total of 3 activations, so he can do pretty much anything he wants. He's going to move once to there. And then I think we'll go, boy, maybe he should move into here. Now, the trick with the cattle is you can lead them away, but you only move slow when you have them. So it'll be 1, 2, and then he'll drag that cow out to about here with his 3rd activation. That's a bit much. I don't think we're going to mess with that. Instead, I think what we'll do is we'll jump over. We'll use our 2nd action to hoist up the pig, and then we'll use a 3rd action to jump back over the fence. That's his 3 activations. Then this Brave, now that does sound the alarm, so the Colonials get to go next. This Brave is going to try 3 activations. He's only going to get 1. We're going to bring him a medium, which will put him just around the corner over here. Remember, the door is here, and the window is here. So he will be out of sight to start with. And now the Colonials get to counterattack. They hear old Bessie back there squealing like a stuck pig, which is probably wrong. She's not stuck, right? She's just a stolen pig. Unfortunately for the farmer and his friends, it takes an action to open the door, which means these frontiermen, I'm going to use the little crouchy guy first. He's going to try to activate 3 times. With a 4, 4, and a 1, he can open the door, and he can move out, and then everybody else can move out. So he's going to move up and take position right about there. Now anybody else can charge out of the door as well. I'm going to try to bring this farmer out in this direction, and I'm only going to activate him 1 time. I just want to get him out. With a 2, he fails. Then I'm going to try to move this other farmer. These are my melee guys. Does my melee guy get out? He does. Now, he moves medium. So all he's going to be able to do is rush up to take cover right here by the fence post. Then I've got this guy who is going to try to open the door. And, well, let's try this guy first. He just wants to shoot. Hey, I see a raider right there. So he's going to try to open fire, and he fails. Then this guy is going to try to kick open the door, and he fails twice. So that's going to be the end of the Colonials. We're going to try to spirit away the hog with this guy first, and with a 6, he will be able to move. And because the Braves are strong, he can still move 1 medium. So he's going to rush off in this direction, and that's going to be, probably the first victory point. The second native to go, remember, they score victory points, so this strong guy here is going to activate 3 times. Well, he's only going to activate twice, so he can grab the pig, jump the fence, and all we got to do is get him off the table to score that point. That's all he's going to be able to do. The natives get to continue going. So this guy with the musket is going to take a shot at this guy with the musket. We'll roll. Should we roll? Maybe not. Maybe. What do we do here? We could bring our our big boy around the side here and attack, but he's going to have 3 moves. I want to move him once. With a 3, he fails. This guy doesn't have, he does have kind of a line of sight here, but he's going to be firing at a guy behind heavy cover. With his bow, now a bow doesn't need to be reloaded. The muskets and the rifles do, and it takes 2 actions on the same turn to reload. And you can't use 3 actions and reload and shoot on the same turn. That could be a problem. The bow is firing at medium. So let's do that. Maybe we take an aim shot. Trying to activate. I want to move this guy first, though. Yeah, he's going to move over to the pig. A little pity. And then I want to move this guy into cover behind the fence as well. And he gets it, so he moves into cover. And then I want to try to fire with the bow, because he doesn't have to reload. So I'm taking 2 shots. I get 1 off. So now we get to do our first roll off for combat. It's basically, well, let me just roll him first. So the guy behind cover is going to win this one. The bow is going to be at evens. And the white die gets a +2 because he's behind heavy cover. So it's 8-4. He's fine. Then I'm going to try to fire with this rifle guy. Is going to take a shot at the guy standing in the window. I'm rolling twice. He gets 2 actions. In this version of Song of Drums and Tomahawks, when you take an aimed shot, let me just check this real quick. Modifiers for shooting. If you take an aimed shot, you're -1 to your opponent's score. So this is going to be at a +1. +2 for the window, -1 for the aimed shot. This die is going to be at close range. A musket is at +2. So it's +1 to +2. And that's going to be a 5 and a 5. That means the native has 1. And then you look at the kind of die that is rolled. And when you have an attack die that's odd, you drop prone. So we put a reload marker here. I'm going to lay this guy down. He's not wounded, okay? He's just prone, which means he has to spend an activation to stand up. But if you move into melee with him, I think he automatically stands up. That's the difference between a wound and being prone. Then I want to try to fire with this arrow, and the door is still closed. Oh, he doesn't have a shot. The door is still closed. So this guy's still trying to fumble with it and try to get it open. I think that's just about everybody. Who else has yet to go? This guy hasn't gone yet, so I'm going to roll 3 times for that guy. Whoops. So he got 1 activation. I got to roll the red dice. So he gets 2 activations. So he can take an aim shot at this guy. And we'll say, oh, hey, remember, don't forget to reload with him. So the aim shot's going to be the exact same situation where the white die is at +1. Because it's an aim shot, it's +2 for the cover, -1 for the aim shot. So it's +1. And because he's a musket firing at medium range, the red die is at +2. So this time, once again, okay, but now this time, this guy goes down and he is actually injured, which may change the calculus. He has to stand up. Yeah, I don't think he's fired yet, though. We may be able to take him out pretty quick. Does scalper mean... Let me think. Oh, scalper means when he's actually wounded and out of the fight. So that's it for the natives. I don't think I missed anybody. No, this guy hasn't gone yet. I want to move him now. I think he can get over and really wipe this guy out if we get all 3 activations. So looking for 4s. We get 2, which means he's going to be able to move. Oh, he's just a little bit out of range. We put this down. So the way movement works, remember, you don't get to run around corners. He gets 2 activations. He can move from here. And then, but remember, let's move him to here because I almost forgot. He also has a musket. So we'll take a shot with the musket. And he's firing at the guy who is prone. Now, there are benefits to being prone when you're shot at, but not when you're shot at such close distance. I'll read you the rules verbatim. Attacking a figure that's been knocked down. Oh, that's melee. For shooting, target is prone at greater than 1 long. You're at -1. Okay, he's not in cover. So the whole thing is going to be just a straight roll except it's +2 to the red die this time because we have a musket firing at short. All right, I got to run that again because I did things a little bit wrong. Let me get it right. He's moved, and he's going to take a shot. A prone figure is -1, but only when you are beyond long distance. When you're at less than long, doesn't apply. So we're looking at +2 for the musket, and I'll put down a, hey, don't forget to reload. So he's at +2. This guy is at a straight D6. So we roll him off, and with a 2 and a 2, we get a 5 and a 5. And what happens if a guy who's already wounded takes a prone hit? This is worth a reread because there's something subtle going on here. A figure that has been knocked down by shooting represents a model that has suffered a hit of some kind. The model will be at a disadvantage. If it loses a subsequent combat, which it did, before taking an action to stand up, it's wounded and out of the fight. So we're going to replace this poor old frontiersman. There goes our +1 to shooting. And now, this brave on his next activation has to run over here and try to scalp the guy, and that's going to be worth another victory point. We've already got 2 headed off the table. That could be our 3rd. He's the last to go. It's the frontiersman turn again, and I think what we'll do is we'll keep our running tally. When we get to, let's call it 35, we'll end the game, okay? So we're, for each turn, and that represents we're just outside of town. Reinforcements are on their way. For the last turn, we were up to a total of 14, and now we are at 15, and now these guys get to go, and we are at 20. So we got to get up to 35, and I can put a little shot clock down here. I'm going to call that. We are at 2-0. And I'll put these over on the corner of the table to remind me where we're at. We got about another 3 or 4 turns, and I think that'll make for a pretty decent length for the game as well. The Colonials get to activate, and the first thing I want to do is I think I want to bring him into melee with this guy with the rifle. So I'm going to try for 2 activations. I'm only going to get 1, and that being the case, we're just going to move into contact. That's it. We're done. With that guy anyway. Then I'm going to move him. Let's see. He's got a shot right now. We're going to trade shots with this guy with the bow. Okay. I'm going to take 2 activations. And I'm going to fail both. And that's going to end the colonial turn. Man, I really thought I was going to get 1 off. That's not good. The natives now get to go. Maybe it's because I was using the wrong dice. The natives get to go. And I want to try to get this victory point off the table. So I just need a 4 better. I want to try to get this one off the table. So again, all right, so this close guy's not going to move, but he is. Because he's strong, once again, we're going to move him medium to right there. And then he'll be safely into the woods on the next turn. And he's got a good screening force at hand. Then the next thing I'm going to do is, I want to fight this. Do I want to fight this combat? I don't. I think I'm going to wait for that guy's turn. Who do we're going to fire with the bow here. Firing at this guy. I'm going to take all 3 activations. I'm going to get 2 so I can take an aim shot. And that means we're back to +1 on the white die plus, well, wait a minute. This is a bow, right? And bows use a medium. And we're just inside. I'm going to give it to him. So we are at, that's going to be a loss for the guy with the bow. I have another guy with a bow, but again, we haven't opened the door yet, so these guys really can't do much. You know, that being the case, I think I'm going to roll 3 dice to try to reload here. I'm only going to get 1 success. That was a 1, 1, and a 6, so that means nothing happens. Play kicks over, and we roll for reinforcements. We're up to 22 for the farmers. Looking for 35. It's going to be a long, drawn-out process from the looks of things. I tried to fire with this guy, and I don't think I made it, so he doesn't have to reload. That means I'm going to try to... First, I'm going to try to bring this guy with the pitchfork out of the house. I just want to get him out of the house, please. With a 5, we will. He can move medium. The door is already open, so we'll charge him to right about here. Let's see if we can get close enough to this guy with the bow to do some serious damage to him. Then I want to fight. I want to stand this guy up. He's wounded. Just looking for a 4-up. Nope. Then I'm going to fight. I'm rolling all 3 dice. And triple twos, not great. The natives now get to go. And this time, once again, I'm going to try to move this guy with the little pity. And he's going to get into the woods. And I might bring him back on if I can get him like next turn. So take a look at where he is. So if I can get 1 activation to get him off the table, then on subsequent turns I can bring him back on. Let's do that. Because I want to see what those guys are up to. Then I'm going to roll 3 times to attack with this guy with the musket. I only get 1 activation. So we'll run the combat. And then we'll do our turnover. Oh boy. So this is a problem for the native. On a 6, the primitive weapon puts him out of the game. So 1 native down. Call that 1 victory point maybe. And then it's time to roll for reinforcements. We get a 6. That's a 28. So we're only 7 points away from ending the game. Then the colonials get to go. So I'm going to use this guy. Well, what do I want to do first here? I think I want to try to stand this guy up again. The 3, he fails. I want to try to open the door. Okay, so the door is now open, so this guy can start shooting. Now, I don't have any activations. I also want to bring this guy out of the house. I'm just going to roll 1 time. He's going to fail. And then I want to take a shot with this guy to here. I'm just going to roll 1 time, and he fails. So I have 2 guys that I want to get into the action. And this first guy with the primitive weapon, let's do this guy first. Rolling 3 times. I get 1 success. All he's going to be able to do is lock up with the guy with the bow, and we're done. He doesn't have an action to do our fighting. For the natives, I'm going to go ahead and, this may sound a little crazy to you, but I'm going to move this guy 3 times because I want to try to get more victory points off the table. He's got to move to here. That's his first move. He doesn't even get his little victory point gathered up. He needed 2 successes to do that. But we're running out of time. Dawn is coming with a 30. The natives bought themselves a little more time. So next turn could be the last one. And now, the problem is, now this frontiersman is going to get a chance. But first, I'm going to run this combat. I'm going to check 3 times. No, first I want to move this guy. And he gets it. So he's going to move into contact and give this. So we got a double up here. That means this Indian with the bow is at a -1 for when the guy in the black hat, these are Vendéans, by the way. They're the closest I got to colonial farmers. All right, so the guy in the black hat is going to make 2 attacks. With this guy, that means the native. See, again, I'm using the wrong dice. So there's my farmer. We roll 1 time. There's my Indian brave. My farmers have the Indian at a -2 to the die roll. And with a -2, it's a tie score. Nothing happens. That is some impressive fighting. I got to tell you, Mr. Guy with the bow, you are a champ. We got 2 successes, though, so the game's not over. I think everybody failed, didn't they? I think it is their turn is over. Yeah, not great. We got the door open, which just means that the natives are now going to get to, we'll try to take a shot with this guy. And I think that's a 2. We're going to call that a failure. This guy's still trying to get out of the farm area. Still fails. Man, I might need to roll trips for him. We got a bow guy over here who's not doing much of anything. He doesn't have a lot of shots. I wonder what we should do with him. Let's try to move him into, well, no, we're going to try to activate this guy. That's the big thing. He's only going to get 1 activation, so he gathers up his victory point. All right, but that ends the turn. Roll for the settlers. They add 2 to their score. So they're going to make an activation. They need 3 more points to end the game. So we'll go ahead and freshen up the view. We're still going to try to get this guy off the table. He fails again. The guy over there trying to get off the table, he succeeds. So he is now off the table. I'm going to stick him right here just so I don't forget he exists. They now have 1 absolute victory point. Give him credit for that at least. The next thing the natives are going to do, we really want to get this guy out of the danger zone. And we finally get 2 successes. So he's going to be able to move to here and then get back over the fence. So he's now in cover. And poor old frontiersman there, he lost his head. So we've got a total of 3 victory points outside of the area. This guy is now going to try to activate, and he's going to get 2 of them. So we'll jump the fence, we'll move over, and then we'll move to the pig. So we might be able to grab 1 more pig and get him out of the farmhouse. We're going to leave this guy. I don't feel good about that. We'll take a shot with a bow. Now this guy is available. I'm going to roll 3 dice. I'm looking for that aim shot. I didn't get it. I'm going to end the turn. But I do get to fight a combat. And the guy in the door here, he gets an 8, so there's just no beating that. That's just how it's going to go. And now the settlers, if we can roll a 3 or higher, there we go. There's 35 points altogether. And I think that's 35. So we're going to play 1 more turn and see what happens with the natives, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is roll for this guy is going to try to stand up. Just 1 action. Nope. This guy is going to try to take a shot. Nope. This guy is going to try to shoot this native. Nope. Not a whole lot going on here. And then I'm going to make a big attack with the guy in the black hat. He gets 3 successes. So he's going to make a power attack. And once again, because he's got a friend with him, we're going to have some pretty big negatives. Wow. Okay, so that's pretty rough. He's actually going to go on a 1. He's going to be knocked down and wounded. And that means his friend is now fighting alone. So his friend says, well, I'm going to try to activate 3 times. I'm only going to get 1 activation, no power attack. It's just going to be a straight D6, D6. And with the doubling up, this farmer is going to go down, which means we have another. He's actually eliminated from the table. But because the colonists go next, there's not going to be any way to get the scalp and get off the table. Really what we're looking at here is the natives getting to go, and then I think that's it. I think we end the game right there, and we give the natives 1, 2, 3 victory points, plus they knock down 2 guys, 3 guys. I think this is a solid success for the natives. They only lost 1 of their braves. They left 3 of the colonials bleeding in the dirt, and they got away with 2 pigs and a scalp. So a pretty good success for the natives, and a pretty good demonstration of how this game works. I know the camera got a little wiggly at the end there. I just ran out of table space. But unlike most of these Song of Blades and Heroes games I've played, and again, this is on me. This is not a criticism of the game. You need a solid scenario in order to make this work. Give them credit. I think the other thing is, if we started the game with the colonials on alert, it probably would have been a lot bloodier a lot sooner. They really got bottled up in the farmhouse by adding the raise the alarm kind of shot clock, or ticking clock, if you will. So if I had to play this again, if you decide to do the mashup of Fistful of Lead, Horse and Musket, and we'll take this under advisement because we're going to be playing the second scenario out of this using Song of Drums and Tomahawks. We'll have to understand that the shot clock doesn't work so great when you aren't dealing with guaranteed activations turn by turn. The potential for failure means that you really need to extend the turn sequence. I'd be interested to hear some of your thoughts on how you use a ticking clock and an uncertain game length time with Song of Drums and Tomahawks. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe because of the way the activations work, you just play the thing out. If that's the case, I'm probably going to scale back to like 6 figures on a side. This whole 9-on-7 takes a little bit longer than I'm comfortable with. Bro, I got to work tomorrow, man. I got to rack out. So that's what I'm going to do. And then you guys talk about it. We'll check back in. I'll throw the little hearts down, and I'll be so glad to have you guys along for the ride. In the meantime, I'm praying for you.